Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. And today is a 1 vs 1 on Kholodny Ferma between our red OKW player PanzerGrenadierAngreifen, and on the right side we have our blue US Forces player Tüme. I believe that's Tüme. It should be. Umlauts always confuse me and frighten me. And it is Kholodny Ferma, so we have our victory points going straight down the center of the map like so. We have our munitions point, fuel point at the bottom, and a munitions and a fuel point at the top. And we have Stern Pioneers moving out to that very first territory point. And rear echelons moving to their first territory point as well. Now moving down to the bottom here with an extra rear echelon troop. He does have 2 of those see the world, they said, intel bulletins, so it should help him out a little bit with those rear echelon troops, although not particularly much. Stern Pioneers already creating steel barricades there in front of the cover. Kuba wagon down in the center, and the Schwer Wehrmacht Schlepper is moving on out, being a very, very brave Wehrmacht Schlepper. And taking down the fence line here in between the church and the victory point. And we'll see what he decides to do with that. Maybe he's just coming and seeing the world, as the rear echelon troops are doing. And now Kuba wagon turns towards the riflemen, but they get inside the cover, so it's going to be useless there, and just going to back that up for now. 2 rear echelon troops down here versus the Stern Pioneers, and rear echelon troops are pretty bad at first, so they're going to get all rocked up by the Stern Pioneers and retreating them now. Another Kuba wagon backing up the wrong way and going towards the rear echelon troops here. Stern Pioneers in chase, trying to get as close as possible there, and takes out 1. They do take that fuel point though for the US forces, but it doesn't look like he's going to have it for very long. Now going to lose another rear echelon troop there. Just 1 left in that squad. We'll make it out of there, though, fortunately. And where did our riflemen go off to? They went to the center. Now going to hop the fence, going to try and get in that building there. And it does look like the Wehrmacht Schlepper is trying to take out the fence line. Either that or he's just trying to force the troops to be moving around, as it can no longer run over troops. And Wehrmacht Schlepper moving at the riflemen. The very, very scary Wehrmacht Schlepper. And he's just going to get out of there now. And now the Volksgrenadiers seek some cover there behind that Stug. Kuba wagon now moves up a little bit closer. But now it's just a little bit closer. Going to take some more damage here. Looks like only 1 rifleman there is maybe firing at it. Now Volksgrenadiers coming back at the left side here. So now going to be surrounded pretty soon. Riflemen pushing at these Stern Pioneers. Going to force them out of there pretty quick and take that fuel point back. Meanwhile, these riflemen still in trouble and battling out, and just take out 1 of the Volksgrenadiers there. It's still holding pretty strong with 5 riflemen, but down to about half health in that squad. We'll start losing them soon. Rear echelon troops going up to the top there to take that victory point. 1 victory point so far has been captured on the map by the OKW, taking down the US forces by 30. And meanwhile, at the bottom, Stern Pioneers moved away from that field point. Now going down to the bottom here, going to take that while they're running. Now riflemen down to 2 men in the squad, and gonna have to hop the fence here to get away with that, or they're gonna have to retreat all the way around it. There he goes, hops the fence. Now gonna have to retreat, but gonna have to run past the Kuba wagon as well. But we'll not lose that squad just yet. Rear echelon troop, just veterancy. Level 1 there in that church. Volksgrenadiers now in the center are gonna push towards the church. Shouldn't be too much of a problem there for the Volksgrenadiers to take out those rear echelon troops. And now the Stern Pioneers are running away even more. They did take that territory point down here, forcing those riflemen to keep moving. Rear echelon troops up here taking that fuel point, but unfortunately some Volksgrenadiers going to come and say otherwise. Going to force these rear echelon troops out of here pretty quick. Let's see if those rear echelon can at least take 1 out. Right now with such low veterancy, rear echelon troops are super, super not good. But once you get them level 2 veterancy and they get an extra man in the squad, and they're usually just for capturing things, just having additional men on the field to capture when the enemy is somewhere else. And now the M5 mine going down on the ground here at the munitions point. I always loved that tactic when players use those M5 mines, and now it's in another commander in the heavy cavalry company. And rear echelon troop down to 1 man and very, very low on health, and will probably lose this if those Volksgrenadiers focus fire here. And if he gets away, that would be 1 lucky rear echelon troop, and he will get away. Very, very lucky. Up top here at the fuel point, Volksgrenadier is going to be taking that. Then going to be moving on to the territory point. 2 victory points for the US forces. So now going to start trying to turn this game around a little bit here. Riflemen hiding behind the sandbags, but not quite in cover good enough. The Kuba wagon suppresses them. And now Lieutenant is out on the field and flanking the rear of those Volksgrenadiers, and these riflemen here could go over there as well and sort of sandwich them. Kübelwagen turns around and suppresses these riflemen. They will get up soon, though. Stern Pioneers going at it with the riflemen. One man left in that squad. And Lieutenant there took an incendiary grenade by the looks of it, and took it pretty well, too. Down to 2 men in that squad. Territory point now being taken back by the U.S. forces up here. Volksgrenadiers taking back the top victory point. So going to go back to 2 for the OKW riflemen down here on the bottom. Moving up. And just 3 men in that squad. And territory point going to be taken here soon by these riflemen. You know, both of those rear echelon troops moving to the center. We'll be trying to take this here. And now some trouble brewing up top here. Volksgrenadiers chasing the riflemen that managed to get around them somehow without seeing them. And now running from these Volksgrenadiers. Going to try and take some territory to cut off the OKW for now. And going to go after the territory point. And it will cut them off from the fuel there and the territory point up top. We have a Rakettenwerfer now out on the field. Americans are making a push. And he's getting behind cover here, which is really not necessary against the Rakettenwerfer. He could have taken that territory point and stayed there for a moment, but these Volksgrenadiers would have forced him away either way. And now the rear echelon troops moving on up on those Stern Pioneers. And now a 2-star veteran rear echelon troop here. And this one's still just a lowly 0 veterancy. And these Stern Pioneers are taking it. And rear echelon's down to 2. Stern Pioneers at 2. Has some additional firepower here from the rifleman. Takes out another one. Down to 1 man. Down to 1 man. Both sides retreating. And rifleman down here. Hiding from the Volksgrenadiers. And now the Volksgrenadiers just going to turn around and go after the rear echelon troops, who are very, very vulnerable with no cover. And going to force them out of there. They didn't even kill a Rakettenwerfer crew member. And now the rear echelon troops going to be running past more Volksgrenadiers. And just 1 man in that squad, but he gets away. Those sneaky Volksgrenadiers, or those sneaky rear echelon troops, that is. And the AA half-track here blasting away at the Rakettenwerfer. And now going to start taking down that crew member. Now decrews that whole Rakettenwerfer. Had to stop that AA half-track to fire that main cannon there. And now going to pick up that Rakettenwerfer, and he's going to retreat. I was about to say he could use that against that Kübelwagen, but he was already being suppressed there. And he does have that AA half-track to do the job, too. So he does have options there. Lieutenant now up top here, but there are 2 Volksgrenadier squads, each missing quite a bit of health, though. And 1 man in the squad. Now the AA half-track moving all the way up top here. And going to cut off these Volksgrenadiers, and if they retreat, they're just going to have to run past the AA half-track there. And take some damage. We have riflemen versus Volksgrenadiers point blank over there at the munitions point. And now we're going to have to run past this AA half-track and may lose this Volksgrenadier squad. Loses a Volksgrenadier squad. And now the Kübelwagen being very, very brave and going up to that AA half-track, but that is not going to be enough. And almost loses that Kübelwagen. Is he going to lose it? He's just down to 1 tiny sliver of health. Can't believe he did not lose that Kübelwagen. And its engine's so damaged it can barely even move. Now the Volksgrenadier is going to be running past the AA half-track there. And having a hard time getting out of there. And now that Volksgrenadier squad will make it home. And the battle ended up with the riflemen on top over here. And I didn't see if he actually took out the whole squad or not, as all the cool action was with the AA half-track there. And Rakettenwerfer going to be retreating on home. Built a 2nd one to deal with that AA half-track. But no luck there. Stern Pioneers repairing up that Kübelwagen. Echelon's now making a fighting position here at the munitions point. Going to slow the OKW down a little bit, but he does have that Rakettenwerfer, which will be able to just rocket that down eventually. Schwerer Wehrmachtschlepper now moving into the center. And we'll see what he decides to do with this, if he's going to make a Schwerer Panzer headquarters. And this area right here is usually the area you want to do it. And riflemen now moving into the center, moving after those Volksgrenadiers, going to try and take this victory point back, and indeed going to make a Schwerer Panzer headquarters. And that one is particularly far back from what I normally see, but it will do the job. Covers the entire of the victory point there. And now Stern Pioneers here firing onto the fighting position. But not doing too good here. Here comes the AA half-track, going to try and chase down the Stern Pioneers and or the Kuba wagon. Whichever comes first there. Rekettenwerfer sets up against that fighting position. And Riflemen are forced to run away. AA half-track trying to blast everything. There's so much around this half-track here. And the half-track may be stuck in here. Not going to be able to get out too easily. Going to have to back around the Rekettenwerfer and loses the half-track. But the Schwerer Panzer headquarters was canceled. So he gets a little bit of that back. Center victory point neutralized here. 2 victory points for the U.S. forces, 462 to 343 there. And now rear echelon troops here holding out against the Kuba wagon. This Kuba wagon's still alive. Can't believe this Kuba wagon has lasted that long. Now a 2-star veteran lieutenant here blasting away into the house. And Volksgrenadiers here holding out. They're going to be taking that fuel point. And now Kuba wagon firing away on the troops here. And I'm going to try and get out of there before suppressed, but the riflemen catch it a little too soon there. And some smoke comes down in front of that Kuba wagon, blinding it. Now going to have to just back out of there. Now all 3 victory points belong to the U.S. forces, so going to take down the OKW score very, very quickly here. Volksgrenadiers inside the house battling out with the riflemen. Rekettenwerfer is set all the way back and slowly destroying the cover of the riflemen there. Jaeger light infantry still garrisoned inside the house. Just 2 men left against all of the U.S. forces there. Now additional riflemen coming up to the top. Forces the riflemen down here with some Stern Pioneers to retreat. And now should be able to take back the victory point there. And so far, neither side using any MGs at all. An MG inside the church, always a really wise decision. But no MGs necessary this game. Jaeger light infantry now moving on to the munitions point, trying to take this back again here. But riflemen down to 2 men. Gonna have to retreat them. Retreats both the lieutenant and the rifleman. Giving that up to the OKW temporarily. And Kuba wagon still going strong here. 2-star veteran. And almost losing its life again. And now a little too close there to the captain and loses the Kuba wagon. And now the Volksgrenadiers running on home down to 1 man. Loses another one on the way. And will not lose that last man though in that squad. And captain holding out inside the church. And the incendiary grenade forces him out of there. Rifleman now taking back the fuel point up top. And they do own that bottom fuel point. Nobody decides to back out. It's going to take this territory point first. Kind of behind the safety of the green cover there. Against the Jaeger light infantry, I would have figured he could have actually captured that fuel point before he had to run out of there. And now rear echelon troops with BARs moving forward, and they have dual BARs on each squad here, so tons of firepower in these little rear echelon squads. So this is where the rear echelon squad starts to turn around and actually be useful, is once you put a couple BARs on them and they get 2-star veterancies, so they can have 5 men in that squad. At first, they're not particularly useful in combat, but they can take territory really quickly. So if you just pump them out, you can have quite a bit of men on the field to take territory points. And I'm going to force 1 rear echelon squad out, and still has a second one here with dual BARs firing into the house, doing pretty big damage to the Stern Pioneers, but still having a hard time there. Not going to have to force these away. Down to about half health. Is a 3-star veteran squad though. Rear echelon squad's pushing forward, or riflemen pushing forward. And another Rekettenwerfer way out of position here. Going to retreat this and may get decrewed if he's very unlucky. And I'm going to make it out of there. 2 Rekettenwerfers out on the field for the OKW. Total of 3 made, 1 of them stolen by the U.S. And now Lieutenant here trying to hold out against lots of rocket fire. And holding pretty strong for a little while, stopping the OKW from moving forward. And just 2 men left in that squad. We'll have to retreat very soon. Riflemen pushing forward with BARs. And that Rekettenwerfer inside the garrison house there, destroying the cover finally. in the center there. Riflemen and Jaeger light infantry going at it from pretty much point blank range there. And Rekettenwerfer is forced to retreat a little bit too far out of position. And now Rifleman down to 2 men in that squad, very low on health as well, has to run past a little bit of OKW here to make it home. But should make it home just fine here. Volksgrenadier is going to try and focus down some more of those Riflemen, but a little bit too far. And doesn't look like it's going to happen this game. Riflemen hiding behind sandbags there, had some pretty good cover, but the Stern Pioneers moving up on them. Forces them out of there. 14 kills on that Stern Pioneer squad, pretty decent. And now down here, Volksgrenadiers taking the territory point right in front of the U.S. base. But now mass rear echelon troops moving forward, and now 5 in both squads here with 2 BARs on each squad there. And grenades go off all over the ground there, but totally miss. And we now have an Ostwind out on the field here for the OKW. Rear echelon troops moving forward, going to try and get some cover behind those sandbags. Forces the Volksgrenadiers and saves that munitions point for the U.S. forces. And the territory point taken here by the Rekettenwerfer. And with 2 Rekettenwerfers out in the field here, pretty decent anti-armor capabilities. But the U.S. forces not really getting any armor right now. And maybe saving for that Pershing if time allows. And rear echelon troops taking the territory point here, but the Ostwind's coming and going to force them out of there in a quick hurry. He decides to get out of there before even taking that. Doesn't want to stand there at all. Already losing rear echelon troops. Stern Pioneers up top, taking that. Here, your light infantry pushing forward. Going to throw some grenades inside the house there, but Captain jukes out. Ostwind here going to push forward a little bit. It's got to watch out, though. Does have that Rekettenwerfer and almost in range of that Rekettenwerfer. Rekettenwerfer's range pretty short. Jaeger light infantry inside the house here has to deal with 2 riflemen with BARs, and Ostwind moving up a little bit. Captain right there inside the house launches bazooka, but misses. And looks like the 75 firing away at the Ostwind as well, which will actually do some pretty decent damage, although the frontal armor hit probably just a small sliver. And the Stern Pioneer taking that top victory point, center belonging to the OKW, so it's on 2 victory points for the OKW. 462 to 157. And Ostwind causing some trouble here for the infantry of the U.S. forces, as that is the majority, pretty much all of his forces. And now the victory point here going to be taken by the U.S. forces, but can he last that long? It doesn't look like it. Very, very low on health in this whole squad. And now a 4-star Volksgrenadier squad moving in. And it's going to try and hold out and take this. As soon as he takes that, going to have to retreat out of there. Very low on health. Meanwhile, Volksgrenadiers down at the bottom there, taking that bottom victory point. So still going to have 2 victory points for the OKW. House has totally collapsed from, by the looks of it, that 75. And now going to throw some infiltration grenades inside the church, and goes off. Captain just jukes it out, gets back in. Now 3 Rekettenwerfers out in the field here for the OKW, and I'm not really sure why. And I suppose this pretty much prevents the U.S. forces from getting any kind of armor, because if he does, he's going to get blasted pretty bad here. 3 Rekettenwerfers is pretty useful. If you get hit by 3 of them at a time, that's going to be some big damage on a tank. And Ostwind here taking some damage, looks like by the Rekettenwerfer there, and the captain. And now down to less than half health there. Center now trying to be taken there, and forces these Stern Pioneers on out of there, leaving that for the U.S. forces. Riflemen up top here, taking some territory. Did take that victory point, and now going over the fuel point. But the Ostwind can just come up here and force these riflemen out of here. And uses an anti-tank rifle grenade to damage the engine of that Ostwind. Now it's going to be out of the battle here for a little while until some Stern Pioneers can get up there. And center victory point trying to be taken there by the Jaeger light infantry, but Fortunately, a little bit too much firepower there for them, so they're just going to go up top, try and take that back. Meanwhile, at the bottom here, rear echelon troops taking the victory point. But two Volksgrenadier squads moving down here. And going to try and take that back there for the OKW. Jaeger Light Infantry versus the Riflemen now. And Riflemen are the only ones that have cover right now, but some infiltration grenades could change that. Forces them out of there. Rear echelon troops here going to hold out for a little while the lieutenant comes. 3-star lieutenant hauling ass. Now comes around the corner, going to get as close as possible to these Volksgrenadiers and just tear him up with that BAR. Dual BARs on this lieutenant. Nope, just one BAR on that lieutenant. Didn't get a second one.
The enemy has cut our supply chain. A resource sector has been isolated.
Two riflemen here defending the munitions point. And still those triple Raketwerfers. It's a very questionable. Although I suppose he was just anticipating the Pershing coming out. So now that he has 3 of them, we'll see what if these do come in handy or not. Ostman here taking some hits from those 2 bazookas. And Ostman now firing back. Captain pushing forward. And now a 3-star veteran captain going to get out of there, and now has that speed bonus on the captain as well. Pushing that Raketwerfer up there after that Ostwind, but unfortunately it's already gone. And now the Pershing is out and about and pushing forward, but there's triple Raketwerfers, 2 Raketwerfers, 2 of them retreating now. The other one already back at base, already retreated. And now the Pershing here going to be fired away at the Flak Panzer. And Ostman going to take a big hit in the rear armor. And now we're going to use blitzkrieg tactics here and try and get out of there. And if he takes one more hit, he will be lost. And can the Pershing do it? And now he's going to try and hide up there. And if these Raketwerfers push in on that Pershing, could force it out of there and save that Ostwind, but it seems a little bit unlikely. Using some combined tactics there to speed up that Pershing. And Pershing taking shots from the flak emplacements and the Raketwerfers. So much damage on that Pershing in just a split second there, down to half health already. And now that Ostwind here in big trouble. And can he get out of here in time? It doesn't look like this Pershing probably will take it out. Turret has to move all the way around. Main gun destroyed, loses that Pershing to triple Raketwerfers. And that is what the triple Raketwerfers was for, is that Pershing. And those dual flak emplacements, although they don't particularly do too much damage, it was quite a bit of firepower on that Pershing. Rifleman here holding the territory point, but it isn't going to be enough. Those 3 Raketwerfers, they did take out the Pershing, but only 62 points left. So is it going to be enough to turn the game around just to lose the Pershing? Because it doesn't seem like too big of a deal for the U.S. forces right now to lose that Pershing, because they have so much infantry on the field taking everything on the field right now. Territory point and the fuel point even down at the bottom. And now Lieutenant runs on out of there. And Ostwind holding out here, letting this one man here take this territory point back. And Ostwind going to try and force out the troops here. Could use an anti-tank rifle grenade and damage the engine, does so. And now with the damaged engine, you have to have some Stern Pioneers come up again and repair that, but they are pretty close, fortunately. Some troops holding out a little bit too long there. Takes a bit unnecessary damage, and now runs away. Gonna be just fine though in the end. Some troops now moving up, gonna try and stall these Jaeger Light Infantry from taking this victory point here. If they can get in close enough range, those 2 BARs will force these out of here very quick. And just 8 points left for the OKW. And a well played goes out. And going to try and take both of these victory points here real fast. The Volksgrenadiers down at the bottom and the Jaeger Light Infantry in the center, but isn't going to be enough. And Tüme wins the game. The U.S. forces leaving the OKW PanzerGrenadierAngreifen, the loser of the game. But the 3 Raketwerfers were very useful for the Pershing, but otherwise I think that may have been a slight downfall. And that Pershing really didn't do too much, and pushing out 3 Raketwerfers, actually 4 of them, because he lost one in the beginning, was quite a bit of money. 270 for each one. which could have been Volksgrenadiers, or pretty much anything else. There were more Jaeger light infantry. So I think that might have been part of his downfall. Is a little bit too many Raketenwerfers. He was a little bit too prepared for that Pershing. The Pershing really isn't that great that you're going to really need to prepare so early for and buy 3 or 4 Raketenwerfers for. I think just an over-preparation of anti-tank there. Took away a bit too much of his money. But I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.